Hey everybody, Eric Dorward here with the Spartan Rocketry Club. Starting a new build, although when I say new, I really should say kind of vintage build because this particular kit is from, let's see, 2004. I came across this, it's kind of a sad way. One of my local Rocketry Club members died, which is sad, of course, and unfortunately, it seems to happen with increasing regularity as the age of the Rocketry Club members on average goes up. But in any event, he had a large supply of unbuilt rocket kits just kind of sitting around waiting for the day that he'd build them. And we, as the club, took possession of them and distributed them. So this is one of many. This particular kit is an Estes kit. It's an older Estes kit, which is fine, should be fun to build. It is from a series they did like 20 years ago or so that was commemorating the Ansari X Prize. This was like a grant program, well, not a grant, but a challenge to get to space privately. Now, of course, we already have at this point in history commercial orbit, but this was like an entirely new concept that this prize was supposed to commemorate. So, in any event, that's what this is. This is one design that never actually made it. I don't think this ever even got built, honestly. This particular design is a Vanguard spacecraft, is the company, and it's called the Eagle. This was barely suborbital and barely like the idea this particular capsule could get just past the Kármán line, the magical boundary between the atmosphere and space, and not much more. So essentially, it kind of had the same flight profile as the Blue Origin New Shepard rocket, which has flown successfully, but just barely gets into space, comes back down. It's not orbital in any way, shape, or form. But in any event, if you have a look here, it's an interesting design. It's, you know, the real one was multiple stages. This one is not. It's one stage. It's a kind of an odd build because some of this is wood, so it's balsa. Some of it is plastic. So we'll see how this goes. Should be fun. Anyway, let's get started. First thing, I actually already did this step. This is the extent of the wood part. There are 4 little baby fins. I've sanded them. The wood, unfortunately, is actually kind of warped. You can have a look down there. It's not great. So I'm going to leave this kind of elsewhere, and I'm going to put some weight on it. So here's a big thing of talcum powder. I'm going to see if I can't get some of the warp out of it by just leaving it being pressed. I don't think that's really going to fix it, but those fins are so small anyway, it shouldn't make much of a difference. Anyway, first thing that we actually need to do construction-wise is build the motor mounts. So there are a bunch of tubes. I get rid of the parts we don't need. There's the beginnings of the motor mount. I'm going to need that at some point. This plastic section, I don't need either. This is all the plastic parts of the kit, quite a bit there. But I do need those and engine block. Alright, first things first, I need to do a little bit of measuring. So there's my ruler. And let's see, I need a pencil. My pencil seems to have wandered off. How irritating. Well, that's fine. I have another. There it is. So in any event, I need to mark off the 2 spots for the anchor points. Get that out of the way. Alright, so I need one at 1 inch. That'd be there. And I need one at 2 1/4, which is there. Now if you've built an Estes kit before, this is going to seem very familiar, but it's always just like subtly different. I need to make a mark on this thing as well. I'm going to make it at 1/2 inch this time. Usually that's at 1/4, but 1/2 inch this time. And apparently my first step here is I'm going to put the engine block in. So that means I need some glue. It means I need a dowel. And that's pretty well clogged. There we go. I am going to get some paint on my dowel. That's not actually dowel, it's just scrap balsa. And I'm going to paint the inside of the tube. Now you can certainly measure this. It says 2¼ inches is basically where that line is. But really just kind of eyeball this more than anything else. I guess I will. Actually, I'm gonna paint it this way because it's closer. Usually don't do that, but this time, you know, I have the mark made. I know almost exactly where I want it, which is different from usual. So we'll try to make my life a little bit easier. Speaking of which, I really need to cut that blob off. Alright, good enough. The motor block here is going to go in. I'm going to push it in with this tube. I'm going to do it slowly up until I get to that line. You can feel the glue resisting now. Okay. And yeah, that's good. And then I'm going to make sure I remove this. Don't need that anymore. It's just has one job, and it just accomplished it. All right. So that's great. The next thing that I need to do is I am going to cut where that where this mark is. So that's where the engine hook's going to go. Now, frequently when you do this, you end up cutting into the motor mount, or not the motor mount, the engine block right there. I think this is actually, yeah, this is going to go a little bit in front of the block this time, which is different. It really doesn't make much of a difference. But I do need to make sure that it fits in the slit. There we go. So don't need the knife for a while. So that fits nicely. It suggests that I put a piece of masking tape to temporarily hold this in place. I don't really feel like that's necessary. In fact, I really can't think of a good reason to do that at all, because I'm going to like immediately put this thing on, and this is going to slide down to the 1-inch mark, and that's going to hold things in place. So yeah, lovely. Bit of glue here. Don't need much, because really it's not really doing all that much, to be honest with you, this ring. It's just providing, I don't know, some springiness for, there we go, for the hook. Alright, so that's taken care of. Now, this is the part of this particular part's construction that's going to be a little bit different from usual. And so usually we would have paper centering ring, cardstock. This time, for reasons that I'm not quite clear on, apparently we need, they're what, plastic ones. Well, that's definitely different. So hopefully they're in here. There's a lot of plastic for this. There's the nose cone. We'll need that at some point in the near future. There's an adapter for those. Well, hope it's up. Yeah, there they are. I know. I want to be like super careful with this because there's a lot of little decal, or not decal, detail things here that there's a whole lot. Boy, I don't want to lose them. So I'm gonna put. So this is in a bag. I'm gonna put it back in the other bag. We might work on that this session. Probably not, but whatever. All right. So we've got these two. They're not completely identical. This one's got a notch in it. That's where the engine mount's going to, or the engine hook rather, is going to go. It looks like they're both going to face, these parts are going to face interior like this. Alright, now, I don't really love this part of the directions. The directions want they want these things, obviously they're going to go on, like so. I'm going to get these on at least first. I'm going to slide them down past where they're actually going to live. Maybe not. Oh, okay, that's interesting. There's actually a little lip in there, so they don't go any farther than on. So typically I would slide these past where I want them to be and then push them back. Well, that's not going to happen this time. They can't go any farther than where they're supposed to live. And that actually is going to prove somewhat difficult. Anyway, yeah, that's going to make me recalculate my plans entirely here. I don't like working with plastic cement in general, and I keep moving this ring. That is a bit of a problem. Anyway, this is how it's supposed to go, like this, right? I don't, as I was saying, I don't love working with plastic cement for a variety of reasons. It's not particularly strong. It certainly doesn't bond well plastic to anything other than plastic. But in this case, and I would usually just use crazy glue of some sort, CA glue. That's not really going to be an option for this because this is a pretty snug fit, and if I don't get it completely on like right away, I will have it glued at a bad angle, and it needs to fit right in here, right? So there is like, I don't have the option of it not quite being on right. So I'm just going to have to deal with the fact that I'm going to use plastic cement. Bummer, I guess. But anyway, so here's a brand new pack. Wasn't really planning on opening this right now, but you know, it's a good thing I have it. This stuff has a bunch of warnings on it. It is not friendly stuff in any way, shape, or form. No, I don't love using it, but for this particular job, it's going to have to do. So in any event, you know. Well, there we go. I actually dropped the piece. There we go. Oh, it's like a pencil or something. Cover this up. Yeah, that's after we're done with it. So in any event, let's do it then. I need to snip this open. So like, yeah, I don't know what happened to that. That might not be enough. Let's trim a little more. Yeah, there we go. Alright, so I am going to put a little bit of this stuff, which hopefully does decide it wants to come out. Doesn't want to. No, that's fun. Does appear to be. Oh no, wait, it's not quite open. Trim a little more. Yeah, that should be good. Maybe. Well, guess we'll have to try this approach. Sure, that's too big. Oh no, it fits. All right, great. It seems to be flowing now. Lovely. Ooh, yeah, boy, it stinks, so I can smell it now. It's out. Alright, so I'm going to just paint as little of this as I can on here. And then reattach this. I'll push down in order to seat it completely. And repeat the process here. The problem with this stuff is that it works by kind of, well, supposedly it acts like it's a weld, right? But it does that by dissolving the plastic that it comes in contact with, and then the plastic like resets itself. And it works great if you're welding plastic to plastic, but I'm not here. I'm welding plastic to paper. I would really much rather be using CA, but that's just, I didn't trust myself, basically. I didn't trust myself enough to want to use CA there. Alright, I might as well at least do one little bit here, and that is I'm going to glue, let me take this apart. I'm going to glue this into one of these, right? And these are all Pretty sure they're all identical. Probably should make sure they're all identical. They all look identical. Yeah. All I'm going to do here is I'm going to line it up with these grooves here, and I'm going to cement it in place. The only caveat it really has is try to center the engine hook in the middle of this. So, okay, that's fine. Probably help if I take the cap off. Yeah, this stuff is noxious, which is another reason I don't care for it. CA doesn't smell great, no doubt, but this stuff is pretty sure it's a petroleum derivative, so just like reeks of gasoline in here now. So that's fun. Alright. Okay, so that's lined up, centered pretty well. I'm just going to let that sit. And I think this is probably a good place to stop for now. For the time being, at any rate, I'm going to let that sit. I want that pretty thoroughly dried in place. Once that's done, then we can build the rest of these around it. But for the time being, it seems like a good place to stop. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.